Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 24, Text 21. Tat bhaktanam atmavatam sarvesham atmani atmade atmataya eva tad bhaktanam atmavatam sarvesham atmanyatmada atmataya eva tat, that bhaktanam, of great devotees, atmavatam, of self-realized persons like Sanaka and Sanatana, sarvesham, of all, atmani, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the soul, atmade, who gives himself without hesitation, atmataya, who is the Supreme Soul, Paramatma, eva, indeed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as the Super Soul, sells himself to his devotees such as Narada Muni. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great self-realized mystic yogis such as the four Kumaras also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the Super Soul within themselves. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as the Super Soul, sells himself to his devotees such as Narada Muni. In other words, the Lord gives pure love to such devotees and gives himself to those who love him purely. Great self-realized mystic yogis such as the four Kumaras also derive great transcendental bliss from realizing the Super Soul within themselves. Purport. The Lord became Bali Maharaj's doorkeeper not because of his giving everything to the Lord, but because of his exalted position as a lover of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। It's a very important verse, and Prabhu has been quoting this verse many times recently. Many things we can actually glean from this. तद भक्तानाम आत्मवताम सर्वेषाम आत्मन्यात्मद आत्मतया एव. So, आत्मवताम, self-realized persons. Here, now Sanaka and Sanatana are examples that Prabhupada is giving. The word itself does not have it, but the examples are there. Self-realized persons. Bhaktanam Atmavatam, two words separately are used. Bhaktanam are also Atmavatam. They come under the subset of Atmavatam. Atmavatam means those who understand Vadanti Tattvavit dāsa yajñānam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shabdyate. So whoever Brahma janati iti Brahmana is one who understands Brahman. And Brahman means spirit. That includes Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And us as well. Everything. When you know Krishna, then you know everything. Sambandha Jnana means to know Krishna, and Krishna Tattvavit, the one who knows Krishna. He has to know Krishna means everything. Krishna and his energies. When we say Hare Krishna, the Hare means the energy of Krishna, represented by Srimati Radharani. But if you notice, Parasa Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate, there are multifarious energies of the Lord, spiritual, material, everything. Like the Lakshmis are expansions of Radharani. The Durga Devi is expansion of Lakshmi Devi. So like this, it includes everything. Hare means everything. Everything that we see is all energy of Krishna under the custody of Srimati Radharani. They are supposed to be used for Krishna's service. Everything. Whether we calculate it as some material objects or whatever, it's all energy of Krishna, and everything belongs to Krishna. So the Sambandha Jnana, when we're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojana all are inside. That's why it is said Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kalikalmasha Nashanam Nata Parataropaya Sarvavedeshu Drishyate. If you search through all the Vedas, this is the best method in Kali Yuga by chanting Hare Krishna. Why? Because it is the condensed form of the entire Vedic learning, austerities, yajnas, tapasya, everything together in one. Because all the purpose of everything is to engage our energies and every energy in the service of Krishna. So, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaneti Shabdate. So the Brahmana is supposed to know this science of Brahman, spirit's science. Of course, when he knows spiritual science, he also knows material science. Because he should be able to distinguish between the two. And he should be very sharp in it. Much of the problem that we have in our spiritual lives is because we conflate spiritual and material. We take material to be spiritual, spiritual to be material. People may think ordinary people as God and God to be an ordinary person, or a sadhu to be an ordinary man to be a sadhu. But not only that, it goes much more subtle and finer and intricate than that. Sometimes we feel um, some materialistic activity as being spiritual, and sometimes we think spiritual activities are material. Some devotees have this wrong notion that management of like temple and everything, this is material. Shastra discussion, chanting, these are spiritual aspects of spiritual life. Management or fundraising or organizing something, that is material. Or driving. When we try to raise funds for Rath Yatra, many things we can sponsor. People are very eager to sponsor flowers because they'll go directly to the feet of Jagannath, like on the chariot. More important. Stadium booking, nobody. That is the most expensive. Stadium booking, $20,000 over dollars. The barricades, $10,000 over dollars. We cannot even have the festival. Police permit will be some $50, but security will be another $5,000. The majority of expenses is the barricades and the stadium. Nobody wants to sponsor that. They think, oh, that is all material. Stadium, why should I give to Yishun Stadium or something? But you're not going to stadium. You're going to conduct the festival. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because I'm now reading his book. When he opened the Gaudiya Math first in Calcutta, not the first, Bagh Bazaar Mandir in Kolkata, the flagship Gaudiya Math temple. The procession for that, he made sure, he ensured that, there was the grandest procession Calcutta has ever seen. He ensured elephants were there, horses were there, like big, like millions of people came for the inauguration ceremony of the temple in Kolkata. Millions. The entire city was shut down. The traffic was everything was standstill. Everybody was walking behind this thing procession, big Sankirtan procession. The big dignitaries were there. And mind you, this is all before India got its independence. We were dealing with the British Raj, with the Indians, with the kingdoms, with all this princely states and all of that. And he traveled far and wide within India when it was not one country. Imagine you have to cross borders, you have to deal with all sorts of people. And the British Raj, of course. Yeah. Madhavendrapuri went to Remuna from all the way from Govardhan to bring Chandan. But when he got the Chandan, Kṛṣṇa told him in the dream, the Gopinath, Gopinath is here, Gopal deity in Govardhan, came to him in his dream, no, you apply this for no need to bring all the way back to me, you apply for the Gopinath itself in Ramana. Because he had to cross through so many borders and all Muslim rulers were there. What he will do? They will do if you say sadhu carrying sandalwood. High priced item, sadhu, Hindu guy, finish. So, Lord saved him from all that trouble and all custom papers, he was getting all papers, customs declaration papers. That's what they used to have in Arabic, some Muslim states. So anyway, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur traveled and preached, and he made sure very grand arrangements are made for Krishna's service. But personally, one should not use anything. He said if the sannyasis need to go for some personal thing, let them walk on foot, barefoot. But if there is preaching, they should use the car. They should use, that time car was a big thing. Prabhupada used aeroplane and everything. So anyway, coming back, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. But in that Brahmana community, there is Brahma Janati, there is Paramatma Janati, there is Bhagavan Janati. But the Bhagavan Janati person is Bhakta, Vaishnava. So among Atmavatam, there is Bhaktanam, and it is very, very Kotishvapi Mahamunya. Is it 16 this one? No, is it this one? 14. I mixed up the 1728 and 674. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha parashantatma kotishvapi mahamane. O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. So, Bhaktanam Atmavatam. Now, coming back, Bhaktanam Atmavatam Sarvesham Atmani. He is the super soul of everyone. Atmada, this is the most important word in this verse. It's not a verse, it's a prose sentence. Atmada or Atmade here. Who gives himself without hesitation, Atmadaya, who is the supreme soul, Paramatma. So he gives himself to his devotees. He gives himself to the Atmavatam also, to the extent they ask. Ye yatha mam prapadyanti tam sathaiva bhajamyaham yadrishi yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. Brahma Samhita. So, according to our faith, according to our surrender, he awards us. So, he sells himself accordingly, partially or fully, whatever. So those who want Brahman, they can get that. From Paramatma, they can get that. Bhagavan, they can get that. So, but the person who is Bhakta, Krishna gives everything. He gives himself completely. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Actually, wherever there is Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Govind Krishna Yogeshwara is already there. Because Tumar Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishram. In that Vaishnava Goswami song. What is that? How did it start? No. Yes. Ebaro Karuna Karo Vaishnava Goswami. So there it is said, Tumara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishram. It's a very important word there, Govinda Vishram. He is in our hearts also, but he is not in Vishram position. He is very anxious for us. He's very anxious, the Brihad Bhagavatamrita verse. He is fully rested, fully at ease in the he is fully at ease in the heart of the devotee. His anxiety is completely nullified. Asmin nihe haiva bhave bhavi madunmukha ityashaya tavatyantam nartitosme sadagnavat. This is how he is thinking, this is how he is anxious. For so long, hope had me dancing like a fool, thinking perhaps in this lifetime, or this lifetime, he will finally turn his face toward me. He is waiting like that anxiously, and he is not in Vishram state. In India, in the school, during morning assembly, there is Savdhan Vishram. So in our heart, he is in Savdhan position. In Bhakta heart, he is in Vishram position. We are supposed to be Savdhan, careful, or alert, or attentive, or something. He is attentive to our needs. Whereas in the heart of the devotee, he is Vishram because the devotee is attending to his needs. The difference, Okay, so this is a very important. See, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying? He is very chintita. He said, "Iha sabar kon mate hoye benistar, tahar hetu na dekhiye e dukha apar." Dukha apar. He is feeling so much pain, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How will these yavanas be delivered to my great unhappiness, I do not see any way. Then Haridas kohe, Prabhu, चिंता ना करे, जवनेर संसार देखी दुख न भावे. He is saying, Haridas Thakur replied, my dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. Do not be unhappy to see the condition of the Yavanas in material existence. Now, Prabhupada very nicely gives purport. These words of Haridas Thakur are just befitting a devotee who has dedicated his life and soul to the service of the Lord. When the Lord is unhappy because of the condition of the fallen souls, the devotee consoles him, saying, my dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. Chinta na kare. This is service. Everyone should adopt the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. We are all too busy asking Krishna to relieve the anxiety that we feel. Nobody cares to relieve the anxiety that he feels. We shed tears in this world for our anxieties. But that verse says, ocean of tears. Tivra shokashva sagara. Okay, let's finish this purport. Everyone should adopt the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. This is actually service to the Lord. One who tries to relieve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's anxiety for the fallen souls is certainly a most dear and confidential devotee of the Lord. So let's see. Of course, he does not feel the pangs that we feel. Like if we get cut, it's not that he is feeling some pain. Even the pain that we feel is illusory because we are our false ego. We identify with the body and therefore we feel the pain. For the self-realized soul, he is completely aloof from all of that. So how does Kṛṣṇa feel that pain? But Kṛṣṇa feels another pain, which is much bigger. Because as a father, he feels for us that we have chosen suffering over happiness with him. Hasam hare ravanata khilaloka tivra shokashru sagara vishoshanam atyudaram sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya bhrumandalam munikrite makaradvajasya. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency, in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. Now, Tivra means intense, severe. Tivra, Akhila Loka Tivra, actually the whole phrase is this. Akhila Loka Tivra Shokashru Sagara. Akhila Loka means all the worlds. Of all the worlds, Tivra Shoka, severe lamentation, severe grief, intense grief. Ashru Sagara. Ashru means? Don't know. Ashru means tears. Sagar means ocean. Ocean of tears. Of intense grief. Of all the worlds, living entities of all the worlds. And all the worlds means how many people are in this world? How many souls are in this world? 8 billion is only humans. I searched long ago. The biomass of humans, of all life, in percentage. If you calculate the weight of humans compared to the weight of all living entities in this world combined, it is 0.000 something percent of all the living entities weight. How many more living entities are there? And germs even. All of them are living entities. All have fallen from the spiritual world. All of them are suffering. And all that Akhila Loka Tivra Shokashra Sagara Vishoshanam. He His responsibility is to dry away the tears of all of our anxiety. So how much responsibility, how much grief or anxiety he's having for us, for all of us, not just for one of us. Oh, he's suffering so much or she's suffering so much, that's why he's, no. He's feeling like that intensely for every single person. All that, who will relieve him of that? Of course, he can do anything, but the thing is, our independence is also there. And Krishna, when he came, he says, Ham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami. But he says, Sarvadharman parityajya first. Mamekam sharanam vraja first. So he wanted to give himself, but he will give himself only to his devotees. And therefore, in that there is secret. So I will give it to my devotees only. I'll give myself to my devotees. So let my devotees vouch for them. And then I will have to accept. So he is thinking of how to extend his mercy to us. He said, I am not as merciful because I only give on condition. I give myself to only my bhaktas, fully, unreservedly. Mukti dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. See, Atmavatam and Bhaktanam, the difference, Krishna's reward is different. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daivam priya kulapati kvachakin karova astveva manga bhagavan bhajatam mukundo muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. Shukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, the supreme person Mukunda is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend and director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he works just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. This Atmada is very rare. Very rarely does he give that. Give himself. But that's the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna gave Atmada to devotees. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Bhaktida, which is even greater commodity than Krishna himself, because Krishna becomes purchased. Kṛṣṇa Karshini. Bhakti is Kṛṣṇa Karshini. Krishna is already attractive, all attractive, but he is attracted by bhakti. Rupa Goswami says Kṛṣṇa Karshini. So, the most powerful commodity in this world is bhakti, not even Krishna. And that's why devotees, they say, Nathanam, Najanam, Nasundarim. But also they say, Mama Janmani, Janmani, so I don't even want mukti. But I want bhakti. That is one non-negotiable I have. I can stay away from you, Krishna, but I cannot stay away from bhakti. Because from bhakti, Krishna is already there. If I am with you, but I am not serving, that is, I don't want. But, so that's why to say, I don't want liberation even if devoid of devotional service. What is that verse? But, yeah. 6:11, is that 25? Mukundamala Stotra also he says that. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Nanaka prishtham nacha parameshthyam na sarvabhaumam narasadhipatyam na yoga siddhira punarbhavam va samanjasatva virahayakangshe. O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka, the heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahma resides, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet. And lotus feet means what? Actually, service. Without service, we cannot even reach his lotus feet. What is that verse? Huh? Yatpada Pankaj. No, not that. 534. What is that? No. Panthastu Koti, sorry. Panthastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayorathapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sopyasti Yat Prapada. Prapada Simni Avichinta Tattva. Prapada, you know what is Prapada? Pada means feet. Prapada means the beginning of the feet, the toe nails. Simni means the limit. We cannot even reach the toe nails of the Supreme Lord without bhakti. Even if we go for Panthastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo. Vayorapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam. It is translated in two ways. One way is, even if you go at the speed of the mind or the wind, for millions of years, you cannot. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, that is Prabhupada's translation. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's translation is, Vayorathapi Manaso means, Vayu means this pranayam. So yogis or the manasa, jnanis, both of them cannot reach, even for millions of years of their practice. By doing this Vayu, like controlling of breath and all this Ashtanga Yoga system. Yes, so whether by spacecraft or mindcraft or whatever craft, or through the yogic mystic processes, whichever way you take it, we cannot reach even for millions and millions of years. What we cannot reach? Prapada, the toenails of Krishna. So lotus feet. So when we say lotus feet, automatically bhakti, because the feet means the entire body is there, and the personal form, that is Bhagavan, and only bhakta does that. So in liberation even, the devotee is not interested if it is devoid of bhakti. So proximity with the Lord is also not sought after by the devotee if it is devoid of bhakti. Brahmajyoti is definitely more proximal to the Lord than us. Of course, the Lord is everywhere. Paramanachayandrastham. But, for all practical purposes, this is much farther away than Brahmajyoti. But no, I want service. Even if I am away from you. Radharani, what she said? Sangama viraha vikalpe varamiha viraho nasangamantasya ekasya eva sange tribhuvanam apitanmayam virahe. What did she say? Separation from Krishna is better than meeting him. When I meet him, there is only one Krishna. But when I am separated from him, the three worlds become filled with Krishnas. So he prefers to be separated from Radharani herself. Because by separating from Krishna, she is actually more with Krishna. We think that it is very sad that, after one Ras Leela night and then after that, hundreds of years, 100 years separation. But actually, they were more than the meeting of Ras Leela. That's why in the Ramananda Samvad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai talk, the highest is actually Vipralambha. The highest is Vipralambha. Even more than, of course, within the conjugal love, but Vipralambha. Separation. He Radhe Vrajadevike Chalalite He Nanda Suno Kutaha. Where? They did not say there, they say where. So when they say where, actually it means everywhere. For the devotee, when he says where, it's everywhere. This is pure devotee, of course. We are still searching. When they search, it is different from our search. When they have found them everywhere. Of course, there are symptoms of a person who has actually seen Krishna, and we can see that in the Goswami's lives. There are symptoms of a person. Every person has symptoms. So one cannot just claim that, I have seen Krishna or I am mad after Krishna. It shows in the activity, one's behavior, one's attachment or detachment, it all shows. That's why Arjuna very much asked the question twice. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, sthita kim prabhasheta, kim asita, vrajeta kim. How does he conduct himself, a devotee? Sthita prajna. How does he conduct himself in this world? How to recognize if you are a devotee? But actually, although all those symptoms are mentioned by Krishna, Vaishnavar Kriyamudra Vijnana Bujha. We cannot understand Vaishnava. We cannot understand a Vaishnava. I was just reading yesterday that chapter of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, Volume 1. The chapter is The Seer and the Seen. And I have shown a few times this past few lectures, Drashta and Drishya. Drig Drishya Vichara. Have you attended any of those sessions? No? Prabhu, can you get my Bhaktisiddhanta Volume 1? So the seer and the seen, Drigdrishya Vichar. This is very important for a devotee to think in this framework. Drigdrishya Vichar. Drig means the seer, Drishya means the seen, and Darshan means the process of seeing. So Drig, Darshan, Drishya, what it is actually. So we come and take darshan of the Lord, but actually we don't take darshan of the Lord. We don't take. And it's a very important thing how to understand this. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, we can never be the Drik or Drashta. It is the Lord who is seeing us. Even if I come in front of the Lord, does the Lord want to see me or not? When we think like that, then we will start to think, okay, am I even a qualified person that God will want to see me? When I read that passage the first time, the next morning I was, Mangalarati, I was looking at, Radha Kṛṣṇa. When I thought about that word, immediately my eyes went down. No, actually, I don't qualify to see Krishna. I don't qualify for him to see me. It's a very important thing. Then only actually we'll really become humble and really think all the time whether Krishna is satisfied with me or not, whether he wants to see me or not. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always said, don't try to see God. Act in such a way that God wants to see you. And always this is the case. What is taking him so long? I think he doesn't know where it is. On my bookshelf, Bhaktisiddhanta book that I've been reading, Volume 1. It's not on my table, it's on the bookshelf. So, Drigdrishya Vichar. So, Atmada, Krishna is saying, he will give himself. Here, Bhagavatam is saying, give himself to the devotees. And he will not give himself easily. So, he sends his devotees so that the devotee will give the path. And then now he has to accept the recommendation of the devotee. The devotee will give the path of bhakti. So Krishna, how he will show the path of bhakti? He will show through his devotees. Or he came himself as devotee. He as a object of service cannot do that. Where is he? Thank you. You see, I think this is the third time I'm reading this in a class. Yeah. Those who have been seeing this class online, I'm going to repeat here. I'm repeating like a broken record. I think, but it's so important that we should not neglect this. So, Srila Saraswati Thakur demonstrated Drigdrishya Vichar, contemplation on Drigdrishya, this concept. When at Sri Chaitanya Math in Mayapur, he was once standing at the doorway of the inner sanctum, altar, looking toward the deities of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari. Srila Saraswati Thakur was not wearing his spectacles. And since he was not wearing his spectacles, an accompanying disciple suggested that perhaps he was unable to properly see the deities. Srila Saraswati Thakur smiled and said, "We should not think of the Supreme Lord as an object of our vision. Instead, we should meditate on how we can acquire some qualification to become worthy objects of His vision. We should consider whether He wants to see us and reveal Himself to us." Following the example of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took darshan of Jagannath in Puri from a distance from behind the Garuda Stambha at the entrance to the temple. He did not go beyond that because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to do that. He explained, "We will stand behind our Guru Garuda. Jagannath will look at Garuda because Garuda is his devotee. Then he will also cast his merciful glance upon us." Look at how deep he is thinking about taking darshan of the Lord. Like, what is the mood to even look at the Lord? He is thinking, he will not see me, but he will definitely see Garuda. And maybe he will cast a glance on me because I am at his feet. Maybe. So this shows us that unless we are actually at the feet of Prabhupada, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasad, yasya aprasadan nagate kutopi. This we have to put in practice in our darshan, or not just darshan, at every moment in our life. We should always think, whatever I am doing, will Krishna be actually satisfied with this? I am satisfied, okay, I am satisfied, because we all have our own way of doing devotional service, and I like doing this, or I prefer doing this, I want to do it this way. Okay. But does Krishna prefer this? If Prabhupada will say, what will he say to me? What will Krishna say to me? Does he want to see me when I am doing this? He will only see me if I am somewhere near Prabhupada. Near means not just physical proximity, but Vani proximity, carrying out the order. After once taking darshan in this way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur expounded, Jagannath is not drishya, but drashta. Only when a jiva is wholly free from the conception of himself being drashta, seer, and when he is fully situated in the understanding of himself as drishya of Jagannath and to be enjoyed by him, he has to enjoy us. First of all, we have to be enjoyable enough to him. If I am disobeying my spiritual master, you are not enjoyable to him. So he is the enjoyer. I am the enjoyed. I am supposed to be the enjoyed. I am not supposed to enjoy the enjoyer. So, when he is fully situated in the understanding of himself as drishya of Jagannath and to be enjoyed by him, then only can the jiva remain sevonmukha and with eyes of love actually have darshan of Jagannath. Bhakti vilochanena. Bhakti vilochan means this, that the Lord has to reveal himself. He is the seer. Naham prakasha sarvasya. It's dependent on him. Like Narad Muni, he was meditating. For once he saw the Lord briefly. And after that, he tried harder than before, but he could not see. I did not try. I mean, of course, he tried very hard, but when he lost the vision of the Lord, then he tried even harder. I did not get. So that shows that the Lord is not dependent on our efforts. We cannot control the Lord with our efforts. He has to reveal himself. Then eventually the Lord came. I mean, not came in Akashvani, like from the voice. He just said, "In this life, you will not be able to see me anymore." How will you feel? You will not be able to see me anymore in this lifetime. For those who are immature in devotional service, can hardly see me. He gave a verdict: you are not going to see me in this lifetime. I have just come before you for a while to increase your intensity of greed for me, hunger for me. So that because once you have, suppose, $1 million, you become very rejoice, hey, will $1 million. And then you suddenly lose it the next day. How much you will feel grief? Huh? So when one has found something and loses it, then his intensity will become even more. He will crave for it even more. So Krishna did that to Narada to make him feel more for him. You can read about this in the first canto, 6th chapter. 6th chapter. So he's in control always. Then only when he considers himself as Drishya of Jagannath and to be enjoyed by him, then only can the Jiva remain Sevamukha and with eyes of love actually have darshan of Jagannath. As long as we think, I shall see Jagannath, then we shall not see him. But only wood, stone, an object described in Buddhist literature, or an antique handless statue that is an object of our enjoyment. Eyes of flesh can never chalk out the Sachidananda Vigraha. Only persons who realize themselves as Drishya, whose eyes see by hearing from Shastra, or by chanting the holy names, may have darshan of the Sachidananda reality. On another occasion, he says, one who sees must do so with bhakti. A pure devotee is a servant of Bhagavan, and non-devotees are those with extraneous desires, karmis, jnanis, yogis, and the rest. If in the mood of an enjoyer we go to see Jagannath, regarding him as an object of our enjoyment, then we will simply see a maimed wooden doll and return. Some will say Jagannath is an armless Ram, a wooden doll. Others consider him a wooden mannequin with a spirit inside. When a devotee requested of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, please be merciful to me, I want to see Bhagavan in this life, he was reproved, chastised. Will you see Bhagavan or will Bhagavan see you? For your own satisfaction, you want to see Bhagavan. This is not the correct attitude. Thus, again, insinuating that simply an impression on the retina is not sufficient for seeing the Supreme Lord. That's why we are, Tulsi song we are singing. What is that? Nayane heribo sada jugal ruparashi. Right? Morai abhilash vilas kunja diyovas. Give me residence in Vrindavan so that I can witness the pastimes of Jugal Kishore. But we are in temple, this is Vrindavan, non-different from Vrindavan. We say all this, right? The temple is non-different from Vrindavan. In fact, any place is non-different from Vrindavan. For a devotee, any place is. Even hell is non-different from Vrindavan for him. Vrindavan is not a location, it is a consciousness. If I am in Vrindavan, the physical, geographical Vrindavan, but if my mind is elsewhere, I am not in Vrindavan. So I may be standing in front of the temple, in front of the Lord, looking at the Lord, but I am not looking at the Lord. And probably the Lord is not even looking at me. So what is even darshan? So very, very deep. So this is how we must actually consider. Otherwise, actually, we cannot advance in spiritual life. We really cannot advance. Shrutekshita patha. Okay. This he applied even to devotees. This example I should maybe probably even repeat. So not only is the Lord drashta, but his pure devotees are similarly drashta. We cannot. Actually, I brought this topic because of this reason. Because just now what I said earlier in the class, that we have to, Kṛṣṇa sends his devotees, and we have to satisfy his devotees, and the devotees need to be satisfied. The pure devotee needs to be satisfied with us first. So you see, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur applied this Drigdrishya Vichar not only to Bhagavan but also to those pure devotees. You constantly see him through eyes tinged with the salve of love. Remember, the Acharya is also Ashraya Vigraha. I don't know, this is again another whole framework. Ashrita, Ashraya and Ashrita. Another topic, I don't have time. Ashraya means the Supreme Lord, the shelter. Everything else is Ashrita. We are apt to take shelter of him. We are always under his shelter, whether directly or indirectly. So we are Ashrita Tattva. We come under the category of Ashrita. Everything is Ashrita except for the Lord, Ashraya. Now the spiritual master, although he has taken Ashraya of Kṛṣṇa, personally he is Ashrita, but because he is a representative of the Lord, he is offering shelter at Kṛṣṇa, transparent via medium of Kṛṣṇa. He is actually Ashraya Vigraha. In the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these are discussed very clearly. So he is also Ashraya Vigraha, and therefore this Drigdrishya Vichar applies to him also. See. So he applies this to the pure devotees. who see Krishna through the eyes tinged with the salve of love, Premanjana Surita, Bhakti Vilosan. Like their worshipable Lord, such pure devotees cannot actually be observed. Vaishnavar Kriyamudra Vijnana Bujhaya. What are the symptoms of Vaishnava? Arjuna asks. Krishna says symptoms, but still we cannot recognize. Still we cannot recognize. He can be only recognized. Okay, I'll show you this. Who is that in Chaitanya Leela? Who was whisking a king and he fell down, fainted, because when he saw a peacock feather. Who's that? Is it Pundari Vidyanatha? I don't remember. Not very. Is it Pundari Vidyanatha? Yeah? So he saw the peacock feather and he fainted. But you see him, you cannot actually recognize he's a devotee. You know. So there are no set conditions how a devotee would behave. One who is above, Atmaratam, Atmaratireva Syad, in the 3:17-18 in Bhagavad Gita. Those who are Atmarata, or what is that, 1:7-10? Atmarama. Who are Atmarama or Atmarata, they have no obligations how to behave. They behave like madmen. But if they do behave in an intelligible way to the common man, that is out of their mercy, that they set example how to behave. They don't need to. They can behave anyway and Krishna will still be completely satisfied with them. But they do so in order to extend their mercy to us, to show us how to behave. So here, Girayo mumuchustoyam kvachinna mumuchuh shivam yatha jnanamritam kale jnanino dadate nava. Dadate, Atmada dadate, bestow. Mahavadanyaya, dana. So, munificent charity. During this season, the mountains sometimes release their pure water and sometimes did not. Just as experts in transcendental science sometimes give the nectar of transcendental knowledge and sometimes do not. Why would they not? You cannot simply they should. No, they cannot do it if that's what the inspiration from the Lord is. Like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji did not lecture much. In fact, even when he was asked to lecture, he would say, I am not very good at this. My Prabhu is good. He used to refer to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his disciple, as my Prabhu. But when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur makes mistakes, he will correct him. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he will correct him, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's situation is like that. He is so advanced. He can correct even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now, but he does not speak himself. Apparently an illiterate. He is the most literate. So, such pure devotees cannot actually be observed or their activities factually comprehended by worldly perception. Thus he taught, do not try to behold a sadhu by the eyes but by the ears, by hearing him. One day, this is a story, a renowned professor came to Gaudiya printing works to meet Srila Saraswati Thakur, who was sitting there expounding Harikatha to his disciples. In course of conversation, the professor related that he had recited the Gita before Bhaktivinoda Thakur and was well acquainted with him and some of his children. Bhaktivinoda Thakur by this time has already attained Samadhi. So he said, I used to come and I used to recite Gita to Bhaktivinoda Thakur as well. He used to hear me and I know his children as well. Srila Saraswati Thakur immediately retorted, you never saw Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You were never in his presence. The irony is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur knew that this person used to come and meet Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he was a small boy at that time. And he saw him coming and saying. So he said, you were never in his presence. The shocked professor replied, for so many years I discoursed with him at Ram Bagan and you are not accepting this? I am elder to you. I even know all of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's children. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur became aroused and manifested his intrinsic nature as a lion acharya. Far from reciting the Gita to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you were never able to see him. No mere professor can see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In our conception, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had no children. He had 13 children. But you see how Bhaktisiddhanta, he is making a very, very elevated point. In our conception, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had no children. He was not a product of this material world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur keeps himself hidden from those who think they are seeing him. He keeps himself hidden from those who think they are seeing him. Bhaktivinoda Thakur reveals himself to one who understands that he is to be seen by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The scholar was dumbstruck by the stinging analysis and could not grasp its deep import. Upon leaving, he commented to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, "Never did I go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, never did I see him. My opinion is different from your proud words. He had some affection for me and never let me leave without feeding me. He said many confidential things to me. You sometimes saw that yourself. I am extremely aggrieved on hearing such unpleasant words from a sadhu like yourself. Not concerned that such a reputed and learned person was leaving in a huff, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati remained unhesitant in speaking the truth and further declared, as long as you have such mundane vision, you cannot see Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Become fixed in seeing yourself as the object of his sight." He even said this to Prasadam. Do you know? He said this about Prasadam. Let me read that also. During a Gaudiya Math festival, a Shastri, known for being fond of good food, was sitting for Prasad. While he was relishing the opulent sweet called Malpuya, Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu, here it is mentioned Malpua. Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu, by the way, is the most scholarly disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Nobody was. In fact, I'll read you one line that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said about Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu. But unfortunately, after that, became Guru and became. He said, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "Drashta and Drishya." Are we Drashta or Drishya? Whatever I have to say, my whole message is based on proper comprehension of this truth. But only Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu has really understood this Drik Drishya Vichar, he said. Showering tears, Sri Saraswati Thakur repeatedly spoke thus to Sripad Sundarananda Vidyavinod, while Sundarananda Vidyavinod was preparing materials for Saraswati Thakur's biography. He said like that. Now, this Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu was speaking to this Shastri who came to eat Prasad, Malpua sweet. Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu addressed him, "O Shastri, consider whether you are eating Malpua or the Malpua is eating you. Pandit hoya kene na karoho vichar." This is actually from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because you are a Pandit, being a scholar, why don't you judge the matter? To maintain proper consciousness while taking prasad, Vaishnavas say sadhu savadhan and recite the song of Bhaktivinod, that Sharira Vidyajal. Not catching Vasudeva Prabhu's point, the Shastri became peeved. He became annoyed. And on returning to his place, after the whole event, he went back to his town and he wrote a letter. He wrote an extensive letter to Srila Saraswati Thakur. He said, "I went to the festival at the Mutt, while taking prasad, I became disturbed at heart. I am not a poor man. I am getting a pension from the government. My 2 sons are earning well. My wife is most expert at preparing delicious varieties of food. I have eaten plenty of Malpua in my life. I did not come to the Mutt to gorge on Malpua. But your disciple Ananta Vasudeva said to me, 'Are you eating the Malpua or is the Malpua eating you?' He thought, you are eating so much Malpua that you are as if you are drowned inside Malpua." You are so shameless, That's what he thought. Hearing that, I became doleful. I became sad. How is he speaking like this? Am I so greedy that Malpua would eat me? On reading this, Srila Saraswati Thakur commented to his disciples in attendance, "Can the learned people of this world comprehend Vasudeva's question?" He said. Even among us, are there more than a few persons who can grasp it? Even the question. It is not within the ability of humankind to appreciate these matters. It's not within the ability of humankind. Only by Krishna's mercy can all this be realized. A reply was sent to the Shastri conveying the real meaning of Vasudeva Prabhu's words. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote, "It is not fitting that we eat the prasad of the Lord. That is, we measure it. If the prasad enjoys us, eats us, makes us its own, then we will conquer over matter, and that will be to our benefit. The meaning of prasad is favor or mercy. The remnants of a Vaishnava prasad are called Maha Prasad." Then Tvayopabhukta Sraggandha, that verse 11.646. That verse says, Tvayopabhukta Sraggandha Vasolankara Charchitaha Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi. Uddhava says this to Krishna. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will conquer your illusory energy. One should consider oneself the object of vision or enjoyment for the prasad of the Lord or his devotee. To think oneself the seer and enjoyer will cause one to enter deeper within the kingdom of Maya. Brahmavan nirvikaram hi yatha Vishnus tathaivatat. Vishnu Prasad is as transcendental and free from degrading transformation as is Vishnu himself. So since it is not different from Vishnu or Krishna, it's as much the seer or the eater as Krishna. So this Dridrishya Vichar is to be always considered. If we are to see, if we are interested in seeing Krishna, we should always be interested in whether Krishna wants to see me or not. That is real darshan of the Lord. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahavadanyaya. This Atmada, which is today's verse, Krishna sells himself to his devotees, but he does not sell himself to everybody. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is giving bhakti to everyone. And this is actually the sum and substance of the 9th chapter of the Adilila. This is again from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's recommendation that I am saying this. You know, when he opened his first Gaudiya Math temple in Kolkata, at that time in rented premises, not the Bagh Bazaar main temple, it was in rented premises. Gaudiya Math was first registered as a society. And in the inaugural speech, there was all kinds of dignitaries, they invited everyone. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, to understand the mission of Gaudiya Math, mind you, at that time, nobody knew about Vaishnavism. Nobody knew. He said, to understand the mission of Gaudiya Math, one has to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 9. The entire mission, everything is there in that chapter. And actually, so when I read that line, immediately I closed the Bhaktisiddhanta book, I went to Chaitanya Charitamrita, read the chapter 9. Translation, purport, everything. Really, that is actually the sum and substance of our mission. Adilila chapter 9. It's not very long chapter, it's 59 verses. 59, 55. So it's a relatively, for Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's very short, because there are 300 over verses in some chapters. So, I wanted to show a few of those. Not 41. What is that? 923, is it? 9, where he says, everybody, Mage Vana Mage, yes. Yeah. Adi 29. Mage Vana Mage ke ho Patrava Apatra, Ihara Vichara Nahi Jane Deya Matra. So this is the difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna considered the Patra, but Patrava Apatra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Magevana Mage, not considering who asked for it and who did not, nor who was fit and who unfit to receive it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the fruit of devotional service. Did not. So this is a special thing about Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirana kalau. So he has bestowed something which no one has ever given. Unnata rasa. Unnata rasojjvala. So he is giving the highest bhakti. Even among bhakti there are divisions. Even among that he is giving the highest. Madhurya ras, parakya madhurya ras, vipralambha seva. So this is all what is giving. The highest charity. And since it's the Atmada, da means dana is all coming from da. Da means to give. What is the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's pranam mantra? Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida, Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate, Madhurya Ujjvala Premadhya, Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida. He is giving the bhakti. Bhakti da means to give. Atmada, bhakti da. Namo Mahavadanyaya, dana. Dana means that which has been given. Da means to give. So, Rupanuga Bhaktida, according to the principles of Rupa Goswami. So, not considering who asked for it and who did not, nor who was fit or who was unfit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the fruit of devotional service. And this whole chapter compares this whole mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to a fruit vendor. Fruit vendor. And every Saturday evening when I see the fruits, I remember this chapter. When I see them. So actually, is fruit and a fig tree. So all are branches, the roots of the tree are the principal sannyasis, and the trunk of the tree is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and the branches, and he is the tree himself and the trunk of the tree. And the branches are all the different paramparas, all the different devotees that are in his downline who have, fruits. But this is like a fig tree where there is fruits everywhere. The trunk has fruits, the branches have fruits, everywhere there is fruits. And fruit means what? When we talk about Bhaktilata Bij, the seed of devotional service, the seed is in the fruit, right? So the fruit of love of Godhead is enjoyed by the devotee, and when he throws the seed, this fruit has many, many seeds. Yeah? So that seeds, if they're planted in the soil of the heart, fertile soil of a heart, then they will start to sprout. So, for example, our books, Prabhupada's books, are, he said, these are my ecstasies, these are my recorded ecstasies, recorded kirtan. So it is the fruits of love of God, of Prabhupada, love of Krishna, Krishna Prema. So those fruits, when they land, then the seed of bhakti is planted for one who reads. So this way, very nicely, the whole metaphor is given here. And what is the next? 936. 931. 931 is very important. Not this one. Why is it like this? Yeah. Malakar kahe. Malakar means what, Gardener. Malakar means one who wears mala. No, Malakar means gardener. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considering himself as the gardener here. Malakar kahe, Shuno vriksha parivar, Mula shakha upashakha jateka prakar. He said, 932 is actually the important. Lord Chaitanya does address the multifarious varieties of branches and sub-branches of the tree of devotional service. What did he say? Alaukika vriksha kare sarvendriya karma, sthavara ho iyadhare jangamera dharma. Since the tree of devotional service is transcendental, every one of its parts can perform the action of all the others. Although a tree is supposed to be immovable, this tree nevertheless moves. So in the spiritual world, a tree can go from one place to another. Alaukika, uncommon, spiritual. So Next. ए वृक्षेर अंग होय सबसे चेतन बाड़िया व्यापिला सबे सकल भुवन. All the parts of this tree are spiritually cognizant, and thus they grow. As they grow, they spread all over the world. Ekala malakar. This is 934 is the most. Sorry, 934 is the most. Ekala malakar ami kaha kaha jabo. Ekala va kata phalo padiya ve labo. I am the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick and distribute? So here, this is the anxiety of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, Haridas Thakur, that conversation, Chintana Koriho. So this is his anxiety. How many places can I go? Of course, he can go everywhere. He's already everywhere. But he's asking us to preach. That's what his meaning. Here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicates that the distribution of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be performed by combined forces. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he laments, how can I act alone? How can I alone pick the fruit and distribute it all over the world? This indicates that all classes of devotees should combine to distribute the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without consideration of the time, place or situation. Ekala uthaya dite hoy parishram, keho paye keho na paye rahe mane bhram. It would certainly be a very laborious task to pick the fruits and distribute them alone, and still I suspect that some would receive them and others would not. Then he gives this, we always know the Bharata Bhumita Manasya Janma Hoile Jar. Every Indian should distribute. Now here actually 5 verses before that is 941 Adi, this is 936 Adi. He's saying, Atayeva ami agnya dilun shabakare, jaha taha prema phala deho jare tare. Therefore, I order every man within this universe to accept this Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it everywhere. To everyone. A blanket order. Enechi aushadhi maya nasivar lage. So, you can read the purport on your own. Ekala malaka rami koto phala khabo, nadiyava ei phala araki koribo. I am the only gardener. If I do not distribute these fruits, what shall I do with them? How many fruits can I alone eat? Atma ichamrite vriksha sinchi nirantar tahate asankhya phala vrikshar upar. By the transcendental desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, water has been sprinkled all over the tree, and thus there are innumerable fruits of love of Godhead. Then, atayava shava phala deho jare tare khaiya ha ukulok ajar amare. Distribute this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. All problems will be solved. Jagat vyapya mora hobe punya khyati sukhi ho iya lokam mora gahibeka kirti. If the fruits are distributed all over the world, my reputation as a pious man will be known everywhere, and thus all people will glorify my name with great pleasure. And then he says the famous one, Bharata bhumite hoila manusya janma jar, janma sarthak kore karo paropakar. One was taken his birth as a human being in the land of India. Bharatavarsha should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. So, combined forces, Prabhupada mentioned this, compared this to the collaboration between a blind and a lame man. The lame man is he who cannot walk, but he knows the direction. And the blind man may be very capable of walking, but he cannot see. But if the lame man sits on the shoulder of the blind man, or goes by hand, whatever, actually sits because he cannot walk, then both of them combined together, they can walk very nicely. Because one can see, one can walk. So he said India has the vision, this knowledge, direction, but no legs. Technology, everything is so horrible. Cannot reach out. America is very good. Okay, combined. No knowledge though. Blind. So combined forces, get it out. So that's what Prabhupada did actually. So this whole chapter is very nice actually. Every devotee should read and meditate on what our movement is and participate in this charity. And yeah, one last thing before I close. What was that? 1154. Because I'll show 1153 first, Bhagavad Gita. Because I was giving this lecture Here Krishna says, Naham vedairna tapasana danena na chejjaya shakya evam vidho drashtum drishtavanasi mam yatha. The form you are saying, after universal form, Virat Rupa, then Chaturbhujan and Dvibhuja Rupa, like Krishna, two-handed form he showed. When he showed that, he said, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these things that one can see me as I am. Because why? He is the seer. He is the drashta. Now, next step, 1154. Bhaktya to ananyaya shakya. Not just bhaktya. Bhaktya to ananyaya. Undeviated devotional service. Not just devotional service, undeviated. Shakya means possible. Aham eva vidhorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantu. So, in order for us to jnatum, drashtum, praveshtum, means to know, to see, to enter into Krishna's mysteries of his understanding, bhaktya to ananyaya. And it is not even by bhakti. Bhakti, we can do, like, Narad Muni, he was doing more bhakti, but cannot get Krishna yet. So, it is ultimately the Lord who decides. But he gets attracted by bhakti. And that's why it is said bhakti. But if Krishna feels like he does not want to show himself, then Ashrishava padratam vinashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotuva yatha tatha vidadhatu lampato mat prananatha saevana aparaha. No other will be my Lord, even if he wants to. Yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato. Whatever he feels, he can do. Because he is the controller, I am only to be enjoyed by him. So then here he says, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Now what I wanted to show is this particular sentence in the purport, where he talks about charity. Yes. As far as charity is concerned, remember the topic of this, theme of this class is charity. So Atmada, Krishna gives himself, but only to devotees. And even mukti he gives freely, but bhakti no. So it's very niche customer base. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and gave it to everyone. Most charitable. Now our charity, how our charity can be successful? So as far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Okay? You see how he explained. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most munificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. So what he's saying is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing the greatest charity. If you do your charity to promote Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's charity, your charity will be as great. So because it will help in giving bhakti, which will help in giving them Krishna, which is the ultimate charity, which is the owner of all opulences. People are asking for some food, some money, some shelter. Why this? Krishna is agreeing to give shelter at his own lotus feet. If you are a devotee, condition. But that devotion is given by devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if for that we contribute, our charity will be contributing to the greatest charity mission of the Lord. And that precisely is what bhakti is. What is bhakti? Yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam jnanam yattad adhinam hi bhakti yoga samanvitam. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called bhakti yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord, and what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Why knowledge becomes a concomitant factor? Again, it comes back to the Drigdrishya Vichar. Actually, when this Drigdrishya Vichar answers everything, that I always kind of accepted the answer, but somewhere something was missed for me, like somewhere something. But this verse, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cheda Haitukam. When you have bhakti, then automatically knowledge and renunciation will come. But I was always thinking, but you have to have some knowledge in order to surrender myself. I should read something, I should understand something. What am I surrendering for and what. So is it not like I have to have some knowledge first and then bhakti will come? What is this bhakti and only knowledge will come? Okay, I have made peace with the fact. Of course, we have to make peace with Shastra. We cannot stay at loggerheads with Shastra. So, okay, yeah, but it is a fact. But that our Shravanam, our knowledge is not the pursuit of knowledge on our own, with our own strength. It is lending an ear to the revealed knowledge that is revealed by Kṛṣṇa. So this Shravanam is different from the quest for knowledge through Jnana process, which is an exercise of the senses and Anumana, the mind, Pratyaksha and Anumana, which is not from Shabda, which is our own exercise of Panthastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo, Vayorathapi Manaso. Then Sopya, what is that? Sopyasya Prapadasimnya Vichanti Tattve. It will remain forever inconceivable. Because you cannot conceive. It's not to be conceived, it's to be revealed. Revelation. So Guru Kṛṣṇa Prasada Pai Bhaktilita Bij. So the Guru gives the knowledge. Somebody asked me this question the other day. How would we, a disciple should check the Guru, whether he is proper Guru, and the Guru should check the disciple. But I don't know anything about anything. I got a Bhagavad Gita book in my hand and I started reading, and then only I understood that I have to check the Guru. So how? How am I supposed to? So of course the answer is, especially now, we do not know what is the standard of Guru. So the real Guru must educate us on what is Guru standard. So by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, if we are sincere in our quest, then Kṛṣṇa will give us the proper Guru. So anyway, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yechayad Ahaitukam. So Jnanam will come to us. We can read the same book of Prabhupada and yet have different understandings, or sometimes not even understand. I think that was also mentioned in this book when I was reading yesterday, the chapter. If we do not accept what we're reading, and I think he mentions about that one line. Those who drift in this world have no time for hearing about service to the Lord. Even if they make a pretense of hearing, this is the thing, the pretense of hearing. Those who drift in this world have no time for hearing about service to the Lord. Even if they make a pretense of hearing, they do so according to their own viewpoint. If they do not like what they hear, they reject it outright. It happens even among devotees. Subtly, without us noticing. We accept, yes, we quote it even. But when it comes to us following that, no, I am not Prabhupada, or I am not Prahlad Maharaj, so I cannot do that. The reason why we are studying, I said this in the other lecture as well, my previous lecture on Bhagavad Gita, that our studying of Vaishnava Acharya's life is not to remember the facts and information. That's not the idea of studying this. Oh, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur did this, Prabhupada did this. That's not the idea of learning these things. The idea is, now we do not have an idea of how advanced we are. We think we are advanced. And therefore, we don't try hard enough. So when we see the lives of acharyas, then and the devotees in the Bhagavatam and all pure devotees, when we see their standard, we will quickly get an estimate of our standard, which is nowhere. Then the greed comes, I want to become pure devotee. And this is not a material desire, not that I want to be respected as a pure devotee. No, I want to actually become a pure devotee. I purely want to become a devotee. That means I only want to satisfy Kṛṣṇa. I don't want a tinge of my own sense gratification inside. And that's not a material desire. So unless we associate with devotees, we will not want to become pure devotee. We will not try hard enough. When we see wow, darshan has to be taken like this, wow, what am I doing? I don't even understand what darshan is. We think we understand, we don't. So it will make us contemplate, and that becomes actually very transcendently relishable. Because now, what we thought of as something which is a regular thing, a routine thing that we do, superficially, there is no depth to that darshan. Now there can be so much depth. Even our darshan can be so much with depth. And every single action, every single moment, we can always think of ourselves whether Kṛṣṇa wants to see me or not, whether Kṛṣṇa wants to see me or not. Because in this world, we try to impress others. We always try to impress others. And some motivational idiots, they will come and say, no, don't care about the world, just be you. Do you, be you. You don't need to answer to anyone in this world. You are good as you are. You're the best. Nonsense. We have to impress Kṛṣṇa. Some of the biggest shows on the TV is the talent shows. Got Talent shows. America Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent. They want to impress the judges. Do you think they're not good if they don't win the prize? They're good. Maybe some mistake they did or something. Maybe they have fallen while doing some trick or something, or their voice went off or something. But they want to impress the judge. In that moment, they want to impress. So here, our judge is Kṛṣṇa. Not that we are the judge. We want to see whether Kṛṣṇa is pleased or not. Whether Kṛṣṇa wants to give us the golden buzzer or not. We should see. So even if they make a pretense of hearing, okay? Again, the point here is, when we are hearing Kṛṣṇa, am I actually really hearing Kṛṣṇa? Or am I just reading the words? Because to understand Kṛṣṇa, to hear what he's really saying, to listen to what he's really saying, we can't just read a verse and then, okay, this is what it said, okay, this is the... No, we should try to understand what is Kṛṣṇa trying to convey. The whole series, like what is he trying to say? The whole thing. Am I just reading the words, or am I actually understanding what Kṛṣṇa wants to say to me? And also, the other, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when we chant, whether we are actually chanting, Namakshara Bahira, Asadu Sange Bhai, Kṛṣṇa Nama Nahi Hoy. Namakshara Bahirai, but a Namaka Bhunai. He said, with the association of non-devotees, what happens is, we cannot chant Hare Krishna. No, I'm still chanting, I'm associating, I'm still chanting. No. Namakshara Bahirai. He said, only the alphabets of the holy name are being uttered, but the holy name is not being uttered. So just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if we are looking at Jagannath or Kṛṣṇa, we see only stone. If we don't consider Drigdrishya Vichar. When we're chanting the holy name, it is not that we are chanting the holy name, whether the holy name wants to stay on our tongue or not. Whether the holy name wants to enlighten our heart or not. Whether the holy name wants to rise in our heart or not. That's the real thing. When we are chanting holy name, we are trying to catch on to the holy name. As we catch on to the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, we're hanging on to it for our dear life. That actually means what is chant. That is actually what it means to chant. So all the time we should consider whether the holy name wants to benedict us or not, want to be on our tongue or not, or only the Namakshara only. The holy name is not there, which is why we don't feel any pleasure. As Rupa Goswami says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Durdevam idrasham iha ajani nanuragaha. the anuraga, the attraction for the holy name has not happened to me. I'm so unfortunate. Why? Is holy name not powerful? No, 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 no. Holy name is powerful. Then why am I not? I'm chanting, but why am I not? There's one story. I don't know where it is. Somewhere here. What happened? Bhaktivinoda Thakur was traveling. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a boy at the time. Was traveling. He stayed in a temple, some Kṛṣṇa temple, overnight. Then next morning he woke up and the villagers asked, where did you stay last night? Of course, in the midst of other things, they asked him, where did you stay overnight? Oh, I stayed at this temple. Huh? You stayed at this temple? Yeah. How could you stay? Because there is a Brahmarakshasa there, nobody can stay there, he will disturb everybody. Nobody dares to go there in the night. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, yes, the ghost was there. I chanted loudly Hare Krishna and went away. Oh. But then they asked question. This is the most important part of the story. They asked a question, but we don't understand something. Oh, you could, actually, first of all, they appreciated, wow, you could get the ghost away. How great of a devotee you must, because nobody could. Brahmarakshasa is very, very, very violent. Then they immediately got respect for him. And, oh, you must be the Kedarnath Datta. Oh, you are, because his name was Kedarnath. But please tell us something, because this man was always chanting Hare Krishna all his life. How did he become Brahmarakshasa? Because we think, when we chant, next life, definitely human, if not demigod, if not Vaikuntha. Secured. Insurance policy covered. But here he became ghost after chanting whole life Hare Krishna. How come this is possible if the holy name is so... Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur quoted this. First of all, he asked whether his character, how was his character? No, his character, there were some problems, he had some issues with his own behavior and some regulatory principles also, whatever. But he was chanting all the time, nonetheless. But Ajamil was chanting, even the last part of his life, and he went, some chanting should help, right? What is happening? Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Namakshara Bahira. He never chanted. Just like Bhaktisiddhanta said, you never saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What are you saying? I saw him, I spoke to him, I know all his children. No, you never saw. So like that, Drigdrishya Vichar. If we just apply that, everything becomes properly, we can see everything properly. Where we are. It is a very good tool for introspection always. Because we should be introspective. Pashyato mune. We are Pashyata mune. So we should be introspective. So that Pashyata will happen if we see in this way. So okay, I'll stop it here. Any questions or comments?
If that is the case, that in the entire class that we are not seeing Krishna itself, then what is our case? There Garuda Stambha was opposite. For us, Prabhupada is this side. And how...
What is that?
In Jagannath Puri, he was under Garuda Stambha, thinking that, okay, if he see Garuda, then Jagannath will see me. So now in our case, how to see our Krishna here?
So if you see what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, he said, Garuda is our Guru. So our Guru is here.
That's what. We should stand there and see. Is
Oh, yeah, that's what. No, why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was looking at the Gandharvika Giridhara deities from the door of the inner altar.
That's what.
No, the point is not about Garuda Stambha or the location, the physical location. The point is where I am in my consciousness. That's what matters. It's always about not the physical Garuda Stambha. I can be standing as Garuda Stambha, I'm following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footsteps. But if I don't have this attitude that, I am the best looker at Jagannath because I am looking at Jagannath just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing. Where is the pride? You see the head, how big it is.
That's
not any Drigdrishya Vichar at all.
Yeah.
That's nonsense Vichar. That is Jagat Darshan. That's not Goloka Darshan. So, if I try to see that, I am seeing just as Mahaprabhu seeing, I am seeing as Bhaktisiddhanta, I am such a great devotee, I know how to see. Finish. Everybody going front, all of them are rascals. I am the best darshan taker of Jagannath.
Because when we went to Jagannath Puri, first time we were asked to see from there. Of course, I don't know what was the reason that time. So we were just like, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seeing from here, so let us also see from here, with that mood only. Now I'm just giving the clarity of why people think that imitation, it will become imitation. And one more doubt is, now in today's verse, Tadbhaktanam Atmavatam, right? So does it mean like, so okay, I understood like this: among Atmavatams, Bhaktanam is only the one he gets, like he gets sold for. Krishna gets sold for, isn't that? Not all Atmavatam.
He sells himself partially. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajami. He rewards himself accordingly. Until Paramatma, he will reward them. He does, but to that extent. Brahma only. Until that. He sells
Because
himself to that only.
when we see the verses like 1, 5, 18, 19, all these kind of things and all, even little, also they are not Krishna. So like if we see 1, 5, 19 translation, there also it's like once if we get also.
What do you mean? Yeah.
So how to understand this? Like these are also that Bhaktana Matmavatam.
What are you saying? See, he sells himself to all bhaktas in the proportion yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. As much as our shraddha is, as much as our devotion is kanishtha, madhyama, uttama, that much Krishna will sell himself. But he sells himself fully to the devotee.
Pure devotee.
Yeah. Yeah.
They gave up everything.
Here, first of all, 9463, he says, Aham Bhakta Paradhina,
Yeah.
Asvatantra, Sadhugrasta Hridayo. He says, I am not at all independent. I sit only within the cause of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. Now, 65, he says, Ye dharagar putrapt pranan vittam imam param hitva mam sharanam yatah katham tam tyaktum utsahe. Since pure devotees give up their homes, wives, children, relatives, riches, and even their lives simply to serve me without any desire for material improvement in this life or in the next, how can I give up such devotees at any time? And he finally says, नपारयेऽहं निरवध्य संयुतां स्वसाधु कृत्यं विबुधायुषापिव यामा भजन् दुर्जरगेह शृङ्खलाः संवृश्य तद्वः प्रतियातु साधु. Krishna says to the gopis, I am not able to repay my debt for your spotless soul. He cannot even give himself. Bhakti is so overwhelming that he cannot even give himself to. He finds himself a debtor. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation.
So
let Bhakti be your satisfaction, not Bhagavan also cannot.
My point is, in today's verse, is it limited up to the Sanaka, Sanatana and Narada level itself, not to the gopis? Then now Krishna himself cannot even repay the debt of gopis.
Well, when we have bhakti, of course Krishna is there. The thing about the thing is, he will be there, but he cannot sufficiently repay himself. Repay that bhakti is how Krishna feels. Is how Krishna feels. That's his kindness that he feels like that. But actually, any amount of service that we may do, Krishna doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But sevam managapi kritam bahudha bhupaiti. Even if we do little service, he accepts it as very great and he thinks himself indebted.
Yeah.
That's his own kindness. But when Vasudev Datta said, I want the whole universe to be emptied, he said, this is like one mustard seed out of a bag of mustard. What difference is it? So we think when Krishna said, preacher is my favorite devotee, we think we preach the Krishna book, I am favorite now, Krishna. But Vasudeva Datta said, whole universe, still he said, one mustard seed out of a bag of mustard seed, what difference does it make? How much difference does it make? Even if one whole universe is liberated. So even if we do that much service, it's nothing for Krishna, but Krishna is kind enough to feel like. Any other questions or comments? Quite late.
Bhakti also there are dasa. So it's different. There is a conversation between Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Sikha to Rupa Goswami. So different rasa rasa. They also get different fruits.
You mean that their own Swarup Siddhi?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, but actually it's not really a gradation, it's just if you impartially judge the rasas only. But as Prabhupada said in that 863, is that Madhya 863, right? Where he says, what? Oh, 63. What is that? I quoted in the WhatsApp. 8. Huh? Did you find? Expression. What? What 83? 883, right? What is going on here? Oh, 63, 83. Okay. Okay. किंतु जार जय रस से सर्वोत्तम तटस्थ हया विचार्य अच्छे तरतम lower and higher levels. It is true that whatever relationship a particular devotee has with the Lord is the best for him. Still, when we study all the different methods from a neutral position, we can understand that there are higher and lower degrees of love. So, in this regard, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained that this verse does not advocate the whimsical invention of some methods of love of Godhead. Such inventions cannot be accepted as topmost. Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi, according to Shastra. The purport in presenting this verse necessitates explaining the comparative positions of the transcendental mellows known as Shanta, Dasa, Sakhya, Vatsal, and Madhurya. All these rasas or mellows are situated on the transcendental platform. Pure devotees take shelter of one of them and thus progress in spiritual life. Actually, one can take shelter of such spiritual mellows only when one is completely uncontaminated by material attachment. When one is completely free from material attachment, the feelings of the transcendental mellows are awakened in the heart of the devotee. That is Swarup Siddhi, the perfection of one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Swarup Siddhi, the eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, may be situated in any of the transcendental mellows. Each and every one of them is as perfect as the others. But by comparative study, an unbiased person can realize that the mellow of servitorship is better than the mellow of neutrality, that the mellow of fraternity is better than the mellow of servitorship, that the parental mellow is better than that of fraternity, and that above all other mellows is the mellow of conjugal love. However, these are all spiritually situated on the same platform because all these relationships of perfection in love are based on a central point, Kṛṣṇa. These mellows cannot be compared to the feeling, okay, this is something else. Therefore, although there is no difference between devotee in Shantaras or Dasaras, Vatsalras or Madhuryaras, one can still make a comparative study of the intensity of love in these different transcendental positions. For example, it may be said that Dasaras is better than Shantaras, yet transcendental love of God is there in both of them. Similarly, we can judge that love of Godhead in fraternity is better than the love of Godhead in neutrality and servitorship. Similarly, love of Godhead in parental affection is better than love in fraternity. And as stated before, love of God in conjugal rasa is superior to that in the parental rasa. The analysis of different types of love of Godhead has been made by expert acharyas who know all about transcendental devotion, about devotional service on the transcendental platform. Unfortunately, inexperienced and unauthorized persons in the mundane world, not understanding the transcendental position of pure love, try to find some material fault in the transcendental process. This is simply impudence on the part of the spiritually inexperienced people. Such fault finding is symptomatic of unfortunate mundane wranglers. So yeah, but their fruit is given different gradation, but all, after all,
material education always teaches us this year. We are all science, observation, experimentation. Everything is that we are here, not the seen.
yeah.
But this drishta vichara, different. We are never be seer. God is only seer.
That's why Purusha Prakristho hi bhungte Prakriti Janguna. That's actually our position. We are Purusha here. Material nature is Prakriti. Our conception is of that of Purusha. And therefore we think we are the seer. We should measure. We should enjoy. But
it is false.
yeah, this is the false. When we become the Prakriti, true understanding of Prakriti is Drishya. Very nice. So alright, we'll stop here. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand.